all incumbents, whether it's city council, a mayor, Congress, vote them all. Vote them out. That's my word of wisdom. With me here in the studio is a lovely lady, a mother of children, and a woman who's got some life experience, and she's a songstress. No, she was not with the Grateful Dead, but she probably wishes she was. Please, if you all put your hands together, welcome Star of the Family Hills.
For the family
Right. Star, how long have you been playing music?
Before I can remember.
Wow.
So I've been told.
So your mom and dad were in music?
Well, they were, they had some musical talents. When I was a small child, as soon as I could reach the piano, I was banging away on it.
You were up there
and,
banging away. That's like my son Adam and my daughter Rachel did the same thing. Well, that's interesting. And what do you think about these? You heard me say what I said. What do you think about these guys getting $1 trillion bailout for doing a bad job?
Well, I think like Ron Paul says, they just print the money out of thin air. And so there has to be a signature on, somebody's got to sign a signature and owe that money. So where did they get it? Where did it come from?
Out of the thin air.
Yeah.
Thinner air than what
Came out
I'm
of thin
pulling
air.
out right here. Well, Star, if you were a congressperson, if you were all of the 435 Congress critters, would you have voted to bail them out? Or just let them fail and say, well, what happens, happens?
Well, I try to stay out of politics myself, but I just know that they create the money out of thin air, and if they don't have us as their debt slaves to be responsible for it, then who's going to be responsible for it? I believe that Congress, if they're going to vote for that, well, how about they are the ones responsible for paying the debt, rather than the sovereign people.
You don't hear very often the sovereign people. I believe that we were all intended to be sovereigns. I really, truly believe. Do you believe that, Star?
Well, I do. I've seen a literal translation in scriptures that says that God made us all sovereign. Now, I've seen other translations that say God made us all kings. Well, that kind of excludes women.
Well, the Bible was written by men, so of course they have a little bit of a, shall we say, male bias. I don't think they ever contemplated that women would, ever be voting, holding judgeships, and ever run for vice president. I think that was, way beyond anything anybody thought in the biblical times. Let me go back on another question. You saw the opening with the Michael Jackson rally, and all the fans were there. We didn't show much of the fans, but there were hundreds there. I don't think Tom Sneddon could get 6 fans together to applaud him after the sleazy thing he did to Michael in faking evidence. I mean, they got caught, and this was. I'm sorry. If you call me back, I want to discuss this with you, Mr. Sneddon, about you faking the phone call, and then your own sergeant on the witness stand said, "Oh, you got that all wrong," and Zonin or Squawking Claw said, "Oh, Your Honor, we'd like to withdraw that evidence," and then Mesro said, "No, it's the jury's heard it. It stays on the record." Then you had the magazine thing. Boy, did he stick both feet down his throat and pull it out Sneddon's own butt. When Mesro said, "But wait a minute, look at the date on the magazine. It hadn't even been published at the time the boy claims he got his fingerprints on it at Neverland. The magazine hadn't been published. So where did he get it on? At the grand jury, because we have the grand jury report. And one of the jurors said, "Shouldn't that boy be wearing gloves when he handles the evidence?" Duh. Cling, cling. We got you, Mr. Sneddon. You are a malicious prosecutor, but worse than that, sir, you falsified evidence. And for that, I am completely serious. We need a private attorney general to step up, because this Christine Stanley was raised on your lap, in the DA's office, and she's not going to prosecute you. We know that. She's had time. She's done nothing. But we need a private attorney general to step forward. When that trial was going on, to get back to Starr's opinion, because you were living, I think, in Marin County or Kern County at the time, in '05, when you saw all that stuff on the TV and got down to the last day and they said, oh, he could be going to this prison, that prison, did you believe the jury was going to find him guilty of something?
I had a feeling that they would, but I had a little bit of empathy for Michael, because you have to understand he was raised in a completely different type of situation than we were. He didn't have a normal childhood, and I believe that people who are in the entertainment industry, especially someone who is like a king of the pop culture and influenced with that much money and just people throwing themselves at him constantly, and all the attention and all the glamour and the glitz, that we don't know what that's like. And we're going to remain somewhat of a child ourselves in that situation, and I believe that's what happened to Michael. I believe that he sort of remained in a childlike state, and perhaps a place like Neverland would be somewhere that he could create for other children to remain children also. And
He did.
it just wasn't a normal childhood that he had. So
You're absolutely right. But did you believe that he would be found guilty of something? Yes or no?
I believed that he would, yes, because
And
of
were
the
you-
way that the media was playing it off.
Right, because of the way the media was playing it off. And were you shocked when the jury came back and said not guilty 10 times?
I was a little shocked, yes, because I know how influential the media is. So
Well, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And the credit goes to Susan Yu and Rob Sanger, attorneys at law. Rob Sanger from Santa Barbara, California. Susan Yu, a partner with, and most of all, a great appreciation of the fans to Thomas Hurricane Mesereau, who blew away all the lies and BS. The prosecuting kept putting up liars after liars, and they all got caught in their lies. That was the most miserable experience for Thomas Snedden